Alright, here's another one of those openings where I need to cheat off the script. Today on the show I review Ultimate End Issue 1, Spiderverse Issue 1, A-Force Issue 1, Old Man Logan Issue 1, Secret Wars 2099 Issue 1, and Infinity Gauntlet Issue 1. Hello and welcome to the show with reviews. I'm Auram, and today is another one of those random days where I'll be reviewing 6 comics instead of 3. Yes, 6. Basically, this is my apology for missing all of last week's shows, the reason for that being that I was on vacation. Anyway, let's get started. First up is Ultimate End Issue 1, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Mark Bagley. Alright, I have no idea what was going on in this issue. As far as I know, this book takes place in Battleworld on the Manhattan section and stars a bunch of heroes from 616 and 1610. My understanding so far, though, is that all of these heroes are new and are not from our 616, if that makes any sense. I think what happened here is that this Manhattan is an attempt at recreating 616 Manhattan, but it ended up just fusing 616 and 1610 Manhattans while kind of infusing the Latverian part from Doom in there. The biggest confusion for me with this issue is the presence of the two Tony Starks. One seems like he's straight out of 1610 and could probably pass for that, and the other seems like he's supposed to be from 616, but he doesn't have the superiority complex that our Stark has currently. Also, what the hell was with the first 2 pages in Ultimate Punisher that never got resolved? I guess this issue wasn't bad, it definitely piqued my interest and got a reaction out of me, but I'm just not sure where it's going. Next up is Spiderverse Issue 1, written by Mike Costa with art by Andre Araujo. Alright, this book made way more sense than Ultimate End. My only confusion with this book is where it takes place on Battleworld. It makes references to New York, but that doesn't necessarily mean it takes place in the Manhattan section. Alright, so the premise of this book seems to be that some of the spider people of our world and other worlds have been reborn here on Battleworld, with none of their previous memories except a little inkling in the back of their head that's telling them that they had a past life somewhere. In my opinion, this makes way more sense than how they introduced the characters in Ultimate End. It just clears up that these are characters from our world, or at least versions of them, that are connected to the 616 stuff. Like, when I was reading the book, the theory kind of popped into my head that the Spider-Gwen in this book is our 616 Gwen Stacy that's reborn, but she's having memories from Earth 65's Gwen Stacy, who's the original Spider-Gwen. Just a theory. Anyway, if anyone knows specifically where this is supposed to take place on Battleworld, please let me know. And finally, for last week's comics, is A-Force #1, written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Jorge Molina. This issue was great. We're introduced to the Battleworld domain known as Arcadia, and we even get a closer look at the laws and rules that Doom has set up upon his Latverian. The amount of characters in this book is crazy, but I actually didn't feel like anything was too overcrowded or just stuffing characters into a frame or a panel to, I don't know, just kind of fill it, make it look nicer. I'm not too familiar with most of the main characters presented in this issue, but I really don't think you need to be to read this. I'm really interested to see whether or not these are 616 reborn characters or just totally new ones like in Ultimate End. The only thing that confused me in this issue, especially after reading Spiderverse, is that there was a cameo by Spider-Gwen. She didn't really say anything, but she was definitely in the background. I honestly just can't wait to see all of this get straightened out. I'm sure it's either gonna be a mess or awesome. Alright, so first up for this week's comics is Old Man Logan Issue 1, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Andrea Sorrentino. Alright, I want to start off with just saying how beautiful and amazingly well executed this art was. It's used in a way that perfectly tells the story that the book is going for and sets the tone, while not being too crazy and off the wall and just ultimately looks stupid. As for this issue as a whole, I liked it. Old Man Logan is a super interesting story, and to see it touched on again in the Battleworld setting is really cool. I'm also just glad to be reading a Wolverine story again. I really didn't think that Logan's death would affect me back when it happened. Even during I was reading it, I didn't really care. But after a while, I started to miss the guy. This isn't exactly the same as him coming back, but it's close enough. Next up for this week's is Secret Wars 2099 Issue 1, written by Peter David with art by Will Slimey. Okay, this was a perfect example of how to write a #1 issue. This book perfectly sets the stage for the 2099 domain and what it really is, and even introduces all the characters and shows aspects of them that will be interesting in the future. All of this being said, I do think that the book's quality increased personally for me after reading Spider-Man 2099. Now that's not exactly a bad thing, but I can't really speak for this issue on its own, seeing as I might have a slight bias after reading that. I do still think that this is a very new reader-friendly issue, and it shows promise for future stories. And lastly is Infinity Gauntlet issue 1, written by Jerry Dugan with art by Dustin Weaver. This book was both confusing and interesting at the same time. I honestly was not entirely sure what was going on, but at the same time I kinda did know what was going on. And yes, I know how stupid that sounds. I feel like this book kinda just didn't have anything happen in it except for the end. This is a problem that I have with a lot of comics nowadays. They'll start off with some plot development and then just filler, and then at the end they'll show a big reveal that gets you hyped for the next issue. I guess it's kind of a form of writing for the trade, but not entirely, since it's meant to sell issue after issue, because in a trade, you would see the reveal on the next page. All in all, I guess I'm just disappointed with this issue, especially seeing as it's called the Infinity Gauntlet. But that's it for this week. I say that like it's a bad thing. I reviewed 6 comics, what more do you want from me? Anyway, hope this makes up for the week of nothing. We've got some plans for fun upcoming stuff, so stay tuned for that. That being said, thanks for watching. Next time, maybe I'll have even more cool stuff on the shelf. I mean, look at this. Is Spider-Woman. She's the best.